Alright, photography students, I'm going to be showing a couple different methods for our CCTE showcase for the 4 options. Option 1 with the maritime photography and the people category for option 4 all need to be edited as a series, so option 1 and option 4. So what I'm going to do is actually grab 8 photos from, these are photos I've been editing for a client. And so as you can see here, I do use the filters to filter which ones I've worked on and then which level, and so the 3 stars are all the best ones that I've done. So what you can do is you can select those 8 or 10 photos you're going to use for your maritime or your people, and then when you select them all, so you can press Command to select individually, you hold down Command, and then if you right click or control click, what we're going to do is actually copy these to a new folder. So I'm going to click choose folder, and I'm actually going to select this folder and do a new folder. Let's just call these edits, and then open. And so what that's going to do is it's going to create a new folder called edits, and then I'll copy those 8 photos in there. So once they're in there, I'm going to select them all, right click, and then choose open in camera raw. So camera raw will let you do edits across multiple photos. So if I click up here and choose the select all, it'll select all of them, and so once I do any changes over here, it'll apply those changes to all my photos. So for this one, I don't care how you edit the photos, I just care that you give them a nice look. You could play with the presets. I have some custom presets already set up, but they do have the ones built in. So there's some portrait. That's actually kind of nice. That one's kind of nice too. So you can adjust the preset, like how much is applied to your photo, or it can add more, which is kind of nice. And then you can still go back into your settings. So maybe I want to add like a vignette to all these photos, just the midpoint and feather it. And then I can go in and kind of play with my sliders. Sometimes I like that clarity but lower the texture on portraits, so it kind of brings out bigger details but smooths the skin. And then you can obviously adjust, all these different options. You need to add noise reduction, sharpening. Do you want to adjust your colors? Do you want to color grade? Maybe you want to put a specific color in the shadows and a specific color in your highlights. You could do that, right? And then it'll apply it to all those photos. Once you're done, you just need to click open and open all 8 of those photos, or all 10 of the photos, into Photoshop and save them out. So all we're going to do is just let that open into Photoshop. So it should open up those 8 tabs. And then we can save them out. So I accidentally had mine set to 16-bit in Camera Raw. Yours should be standard to 8-bit. So I'm going to need to just change the bit of it. So if I go to mode, I'm just going to change it to 8 bits a channel. And then I can go File, Save As. And then just make sure it is a JPEG format. You can keep the name the same because we moved these into a new folder. We're basically just replacing the edited photos. And then you can adjust the quality depending on the file size, and then hit OK. So what I would do is just save those out one by one into my folder, and then just update those files. So then you should have ones that look like this. If you have these settings, that means you didn't fully save it. So just make sure when you're done, you just save it into Photoshop. Just open it into Photoshop and then save it out. And then it'll take away the little camera raw settings on the upper corner. So this one, you can see I'm saving it. And then if I go back, you'll see that little upper right thing has gone away on these 2 that I actually saved. So these ones I haven't saved those settings onto it yet. So if I were to upload these photos, only these 2 would show the changes, and these 2 would just look like the originals because they haven't actually been saved onto it yet. So just make sure you save them all through Photoshop. Next I wanted to show was for the close-up or the action photos, how we can bring out the details of action or macro subjects. And so what you can do, again, if you want to make a duplicate copy, you can. Let's just call this edit, or V2 is fine. You could do this two ways. You can open it in Camera Raw. And then what we want to do is, if I were to apply clarity and texture, it's going to apply it to the whole photo, which in this situation, I don't want to bring out the details of the people in the background and the lumps on the ground. I just want to bring out the details of my subject. And so once we start getting into our selection tools, so you can try these new tools with select subject. Let's click on that and see how it does. It might guess right, it might guess wrong. It just depends. So it's going to add these two players, which I'm fine with. You could subtract. I think you got to hold it down. Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to kind of take them off by using the brush. So I just click subtract, and then I use the brush method. And so you can turn the overlay on and off. And so what we're going to do is go into our settings and increase the texture and the clarity. And so it's just on where our mask is on. If I wanted to adjust it, I could just do the brush and just paint where I want this adjustment to go manually. And again, I could, adjust the brush up here. You can adjust the size and the feather. And so you can, kind of fine tune it a little bit more. I'd kind of spend more time adjusting it just for his shape. And again, I would increase the texture and the clarity. So you can see it adjust and really bring out his details. You can also add some sharpness too, if it's a little out of focus. So those three will really bring out the details of your subject. And so then, I can go back to my global adjustments and adjust the photo as needed. And apply my other effects if I want to. But what I do want to do is do some selective sharpening and texture just to bring it out. And then just make sure to open it into Photoshop and save those settings. So file save as. Oops, mine's keep having it set to 16-bit, so I just need to change it to 8-bit and then save as a JPEG. I'm just going to replace my one this edit because it's already a copy, and then hit OK on my quality. So for the macro and the close-up, you could do the same thing in Camera Raw, but this one, I'm just going to make a copy of it and then open it straight into Photoshop and show you the high pass tool again. Let's call this edit. Let's open that into Photoshop. So the benefit of using a high pass is it's on a separate layer and you can control the radius. And so you can really control what details you want to bring out. So what I'm going to do is just go to Layer, Duplicate Layer. Hit OK. I'm going to go to Filter, down to Other, over to High Pass. So Filter, down to the bottom to Other, and over to High Pass. Again, the High Pass filter lets you adjust the radius. So if you want to do more sharpening, do a low radius. If you want to kind of bring out different details, you can do a bigger radius. So see how it kind of wraps differently around at different radiuses. So this one, I kind of like what it's doing around the kind of teens to 20s in the pixel range. Obviously it looks weird in gray, so I just need to click on the layer blending mode where it says normal. So make sure you're on the top layer, select normal. And then the three we want to choose from is overlay, soft light, and hard light. And you can kind of see their different strengths. Hard light is the strongest, soft light is the softest, overlay is kind of medium. I'm just going to choose overlay for now. Right now it's applying that to the whole photo, so I don't want to sharpen the whole photo, I just want to have it on my subject. So I could do my selection tool and choose select subject and see how it does. So this one did pretty good. Again, you can modify it with the plus or minus with your brush. So I'm just going to take off some of this in between the leaves. Kind of missed a couple. So again, you can add or subtract to the selection with that tool. And then if I add a layer mask, if I click the layer mask below my layer, again, make sure I'm the right layer, it should cut it out. So now it's only applying that adjustment with the high pass just to where I selected. The other method, I'm just going to throw this in the trash. There we go. I'm just going to delete it. So it's still applying it to the whole photo. Is you could add a layer mask, invert it, press Command I to make that black, whatever's white show, whatever's black doesn't show. So Command I to make that black and invert it and not show the high pass. Just get a brush, switch it to white. You can adjust the flow and the size and the hardness of the edge here. And so you could paint on the high pass where you want it to go, right? So I'm just going to paint that on like so. And again, I would take more time normally. You can kind of see where I painted here. I can turn this on and off just to show you. And because it's on a separate layer, I can adjust the opacity. So if it's too strong, I can lighten it up. But I'll leave that because I like how it's bringing out that texture. Once you're done, just make sure you go Layer Flatten Image, and then File Save As. Again, I'm just going to place the Edit one, and then hit OK on the quality, and make sure it's a JPEG. And so then, right, I got my before and after, bringing out the details of my macro subject. I also got the before and after, bringing out the details and some other adjustments on my action photo, sharpening up my subject. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for paying attention.